Hello, and welcome back to the Jessica Papineau Show, living aligned, styled with purpose. There comes a moment in every woman's life when she realizes the room she's standing in no longer fits. Not because anything is wrong with the room, not because the people in it are wrong, not because she's ungrateful, simply because she has expanded. I want you to picture a room. Maybe it's a small room. For years, it felt exciting. It felt safe. It felt like possibility. You could stretch your arms, move around, everything fit. But over time, you changed. Your vision grew. Your confidence grew. Your standards grew, and your capacity grew. And now that same room feels small. It feels tight. It feels limited. Nothing about the room changed. You did. And that is where so many women get stuck. Because here's what's fascinating. It's uncomfortable to stay in the room that's become too small, but it's also uncomfortable to leave it. So now you have two choices: stay uncomfortable or become uncomfortable. Those are your two options. Most people believe that if they wait long enough, the discomfort of growth will disappear. It won't. Growth simply asks you to choose which discomfort will shape your future. The discomfort of staying sounds like, I know I should. I've been thinking about it. Maybe next year. This is good enough. It feels familiar, predictable, safe. But underneath that familiarity is frustration, because deep down, you know you've outgrown the life you're living. Then there's the discomfort of expansion. That discomfort whispers, what if I fail? What if people judge me? What if I invest and it doesn't work? What if I'm not ready? What if I'm seen? That discomfort feels terrifying, but it's alive because it's leading somewhere. One discomfort slowly shrinks your life. The other stretches you into the woman you're becoming. I know this because I have lived it. Before I ever started CSJ Styling, I was the sales manager for a high-end boutique and medical spa here in Sarasota, Florida. I genuinely loved what I did. Every day, I had the opportunity to help women see themselves differently. I wasn't just helping them find beautiful clothing. I was helping them stand in front of a mirror and begin to recognize their own beauty, their own confidence, and their potential. I watched women walk into a fitting room carrying insecurity and walking out carrying themselves differently. At the same time, I had a side hustle. On evenings and weekends, I'd go into these women's homes. I'd help them edit their wardrobes, intentionally curate new pieces that aligned with their lifestyle, and create wardrobes that reflected who they were becoming. And somewhere during that season, I started hearing a whisper, not a loud voice, not some dramatic moment, just a quiet knowing, a feeling that I had outgrown the space I was in as the sales manager at the boutique. There was nothing wrong with where I worked. I'm incredibly grateful for that season. It taught me so much. It gave me experience. It gave me confidence. It prepared me. But I had reached the edges of what that room could hold for me. Still, I ignored that whisper for a while because then the thought started. What if I fail? What if I leave this guaranteed paycheck and my family suffers because of it? What if no one hires me? Maybe I'm only qualified to build someone else's dream. Maybe I'm not enough to build my own. Have you ever noticed how quickly our minds can convince us to stay exactly where we are? Then one morning, everything changed. I was sitting at a stoplight on my way to work, listening to a Tony Robbins podcast. He said something I will never forget. He said, if you've been given a gift, something uniquely yours to offer the world, and you choose not to fully step into it, you're actually being selfish. Because someone else's life may never be transformed by the very gift you were created to share. I had probably heard something similar to this before, but this time it landed. It felt as though he was speaking directly to me. And in that moment, something shifted. I didn't think it. I knew it. I knew I was meant to build what had been placed on my heart. I knew I had to trust the whisper. When a woman steps into her signature styling experience, it's not just her wardrobe that transforms, it's her entire presence. I'm Jessica Papineau, and I've guided high achieving women to align their style with their vision, helping them show up with unshakable confidence and authenticity. My signature styling experience is a high touch journey designed to elevate every aspect of your life. Through personalized sessions, we'll curate a wardrobe that reflects the powerful woman you're becoming, ensuring you feel empowered in every room you enter. If you're ready to stop playing small and start showing up as the woman the world can't ignore, book a free styling call with me today at csjstyling.com and take the first step towards becoming the woman you're meant to be. I knew I had to step into a bigger room. And here's the part I'll never forget. When I walked through the doors of the boutique that morning, nothing had changed. The walls hadn't changed. The furniture hadn't changed. The displays hadn't changed. But everything looked different. The room literally looked smaller. Even the furniture looked miniature. Not because the room had changed, but because I had. My perspective had expanded, my vision had expanded, and my identity had expanded. Once you've seen what's possible, you can't unsee it. Once you know, you can't unknow it. Over the next 10 months, I continued building my business until it became my full-time career. The evidence came after I made the decision, not before. Looking back now, I often think about the thousands of women I've had the privilege of serving, the confidence they've discovered, the stages they've stepped onto, the businesses they've built, the dreams they've pursued, and the lives they've changed. None of that would have happened or been possible if I had chosen the comfort of the smaller room. And that's why this matters, because your decision doesn't only impact you, it impacts every person whose life will be touched because you choose to become more of who you already are. What's interesting is this doesn't only show up in our careers, it shows up in our closets too. I see this every single day with my styling clients. A woman stands in front of her closet and puts on something she used to absolutely love, a piece that once made her feel confident. And suddenly something feels different, not because the clothing isn't beautiful, not because it isn't well made, but because she has changed. As we grow, our identity evolves, our confidence evolves, our leadership evolves, and our wardrobe has the opportunity to evolve with us. The pieces we choose become an outward expression of the woman we're stepping into. That's why I believe style is never just about clothing. It's about alignment. It's about intentionally choosing to show up externally in a way that reflects who you have become internally. Every morning when you get dressed, you're making a decision. You're choosing how you'll show up. You're choosing how you'll lead, and you're choosing how you'll see yourself. And those small choices reinforce your identity every single day. Before I share a few ways to move through this threshold, I want to leave you with a tool that has helped me countless times. Whenever fear starts getting loud, whenever I catch myself saying, I'll wait, I'll do it when, what if, I remember one simple word: wait. Why am I thinking? Now, let me explain. Thinking isn't the problem. Strategy isn't the problem. Wisdom isn't the problem. But sometimes what we call thinking is actually fear wearing a very convincing disguise. It's overanalyzing. It's trying to predict every possible outcome before taking the first step. It's trying to eliminate uncertainty before making a decision. Wait reminds me to pause and ask, am I making this decision from fear or from my knowing? Because the greatest decisions of my life were never made because I had all the answers. They were made because I trusted the quiet voice inside of me and simply said, it's time. Your intuition often knows long before your mind catches up. So when you hear that whisper, listen. It already knows what your mind is still trying to figure out. So how do you move through that threshold? I think it begins with 3 simple practices. First, name the room you've outgrown. What no longer fits, not physically, emotionally, professionally, relationally, mentally. What conversations have you outgrown? What standards have you outgrown? What habits no longer align? What version of yourself are you continuing to carry simply because she's familiar? Second, stop asking whether you're ready and start asking, who is the woman that I'm becoming? Because she makes different decisions. She doesn't wait for certainty. She creates certainty through courageous action. And third, begin making choices that align with her. Maybe that's saying yes to the opportunity you've been avoiding. Maybe it's investing in yourself. Maybe it's setting a boundary. Maybe it's finally allowing yourself to be visible. Maybe it's choosing clothing that reflects the woman you've become instead of the woman you've outgrown. Whatever it is, let your external choices begin supporting your internal transformation. I want to leave you with one final question. Which discomfort are you choosing? The discomfort of staying in a room you've already outgrown? Or the discomfort of stepping into a room that's bigger than anything you've experienced before? Because here's what I've learned. You don't get to avoid discomfort. You only get to choose which discomfort shapes your future. And once you've seen the bigger room, you'll never truly be fulfilled in the smaller one ever again. You've already expanded. You've already grown. The room no longer fits. And maybe that's exactly how you'll know it's time to walk through the next door. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this episode resonates with you, I would love for you to share it with another woman who may be standing at her own threshold right now. Because sometimes all someone needs is permission to trust the whisper they've been hearing all along. Until next time, remember this. You don't have to become someone else to create an extraordinary life. You simply have to trust the woman you've already become and have the courage to let the world see her. I'll see you next time on the Jessica Papineau Show.